Hare Krishna and welcome to our Bhakti Yoga Journey series. So today we are having another episode as part of our continuing talks on the various festivals that are around. So this weekend is a very special festival of the appearance of Lord Nrsimha. So commemorating this occasion, I thought today we will have a discussion primarily based on the glories of Nrsimhadev and the whole pastime centered around Lord Nrsimha. So that is going to be the theme of our discussion today. So many of us, we know about this personality of Lord Nrsimha, Nara Simha or Nrsimha. He is this very special form of the Lord who is this half human and half lion form, Nara Simha. Right? Nara means human, Simha means a lion. Now, among the various forms of the Lord, these three forms, Srila Prabhupada would many times mention as Rama, Krishna, and Nrsimha. They are the most popular and the most potent forms of the Lord. And if you look around you also in terms of the volumes of temples of Lord Vishnu, you will notice, right? So usually you will see these three personalities, maximum temples of the Lord's forms you will see are of Lord Ram, of Lord Krishna, and of Lord Nrsimha. Many of you might not have seen many Nrsimha temples, but especially if you move more travel towards the southern part of India, you will notice how there are so many temples of Lord Nrsimha. So today I thought we will talk a little bit about the Nrsimha Tattva, and we will also talk a little bit about these very special forms of the Lord that have manifested himself. Lord has manifested in different forms. So what is so special about Lord Nrsimhadev? So Nrsimhadev, he is a very special form. Every time the Lord descends, he adopts a particular mood. Like, for example, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the Gaur Purnima class, we discussed how he has this mood of compassion, of Audarya. He just wants to deliver the conditioned souls. Lord Rama, he has a mood of following Dharma. He is Dharma Parayan. Then Lord Krishna, he is Prema Parayan. He is the Lila Purushottam. He is the Rasika Shekara. He wants to have beautiful exchange of rasa, of loving devotional mellows with his devotees. Right? That is the mood of Lord Krishna. Likewise, Nrsimhadev, he has a very special mood. He loves protecting his devotees. In fact, it is at one level, Krishna and Nrsimha are non-different, right? So when Krishna enters into his very aggressive, ferocious form to protect his devotees, when he becomes extremely aggressive in his loving protection, that aggressive loving protection form of Krishna is Lord Nrsimha. Right? Now, Nrsimhadev also, you will notice he has many forms. In fact, there's a whole research that can be done on the different forms of Nrsimhadev. Sometimes you will see him seated with Mother Lakshmi. That form is known as Lakshmi Nrsimha form. Then there is sometimes Prahlad is there, Prahlad Nrsimha form. Sometimes he's sitting in a yogasana. It's called Yogananda Nrsimha form. Sometimes you will see forms of Nrsimhadev where he is just broken out the pillar and he is in his very ferocious form. That form is known as Ugra Nrsimha. And sometimes you would have seen Nrsimhadev in his many paintings and deities where, our Hiranyakashipu is sitting on his lap and is literally tearing him apart, right? That where is very ferocious form that is known as the Jwala Nrsimha. So like that, there are different forms of Lord Nrsimhadev, right? So specifically in the Gaudiya Vaishnava tradition, again, we discussed this in the Gaur Purnima class, that how in the mood that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has set, the mood of approach is that of yearning for this loving devotion for Krishna in the mood of Vrindavan. So our Ishtadev, our our approaching personalities that we'd like to approach is Shri Radha and Krishna. And yet, you will notice Srila Prabhupada, he established chanting of Nrsimha prayers. In fact, every day in the morning program, we chant a Nrsimha Pranam Mantra, the entire Nrsimha Aarti we sing, right? Why Prabhupada established that? It was around in 1970s that Prabhupada established that, when he saw that many places across the world, devotees were being attacked. Sometimes devotees would go out distributing books or whatever reasons. There were some very envious people and they would attack devotees. So for the safety and protection of devotees, Prabhupada instituted this chanting of the Nrsimha mantra. Why? Because the mood is Lord Nrsimhadev, he likes to protect his devotees. And to invoke that special protection blessings, we chant this Nrsimha mantra. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, another great acharya in our tradition, he writes, what is the mood that the Gaudiya Vaishnavas have when we approach Lord Nrsimha? Nrsimhadev, because in the Gaur Lila also, in the pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also, we discussed how all the avatars, sub-avatars, Sara Shiromani, right? So the essence of all the avatars we will see in the pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself, he exhibited this mood of Lord Nrsimha in the house of, in Srivas Angan, in Srivas Thakur's house, he exhibited this mood. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains that when we approach Lord Nrsimhadev, our mood is, we approach him saying, oh my Lord, you are so powerful, you are such a ferocious form, and you have the potency to destroy demons. Kindly destroy these demons of anarthas, the vices, the lust, anger, greed, pride, anger, envy, illusion, all these anarthas which are tormenting me, which have made me, the jiva, bound to this material world. Kindly release me from the bondage of these demons so that I can develop love for Radha and Krishna. So that is the mood in which we like to approach Nrsimhadev. Therefore, you will see in the broader Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy and in the culture, you will notice how while Radha Krishna are the primary deities, the only other very special form, even when there is Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman also, we discussed in the Ramayana class that time, that how the mood we approach, we see Radha Krishna in Sita and Ram, we see Balramji, the Guru Tattva in Lakshman, we see the pure devotee in Hanuman, right? So the mood is very much the same, but the very, very unique form we worship is Lord Nrsimhadev. And you will notice in many Gaudiya Vaishnava temples, we don't worship the form of Lakshmi Nrsimha, but there is only Nrsimhadev alone, or with Prahlad sometimes, right? So this special form of Nrsimhadev alone, as Ugra Nrsimha or as Jwala Nrsimha, the mood is, here is Nrsimhadev in his very, very ferocious form, literally ready to pounce on the demons and destroy them and offer protection, right? So whereas the form of Nrsimhadev with accompanied by Lakshmi Nrsimha is a form more in the mood of Aishwarya Bhav, more in reverence, not the sweet mellows of Vrindavan, but more of the reverential mood. Therefore, in the Gaudiya Vaishnava culture, you will see, we usually will not see Lakshmi Nrsimha temples, but you'll see Nrsimhadev alone, right? Like, for example, we have the famous Nrsimhadev temple in Mayapur. We have Prahlad Nrsimha in Germany, right? So the mood is where we are approaching Nrsimhadev, approaching Krishna for protection. So that is a very, very special aspect of Nrsimha. He, just like how Krishna loves to steal butter, and, or in other words, steal the hearts, the pure butter-like hearts of his devotees. That is his sense gratification, if I may say. Nrsimha's sense gratification is to protect his devotees. So whenever devotees are in trouble, he's just waiting for an opportunity to just jump in and intervene and protect his devotees. Srila Prabhupada, in a very nice lecture, he mentions how Nrsimha is the answer to the atheists. Because the atheist general question is, where is God? Right? So Hiranyakashipu exactly asked the same question to Prahlad. Where is your God? Right? And Prahlad said, yes, he is everywhere. Right? Oh, then are you in this pillar? Yes, he is everywhere. Right? So his very appearance is a challenge to the atheists. So because atheism also is one kind of a demoniac psychology that binds the jiva to this material world. So Nrsimha, he just loves destroying the evil and removing the obstacles in the path of the devotees. That's why in the Brahma Samhita, very, very beautifully, Brahmaji, he describes in the Vedic tradition, we understand how Lord Ganesha, usually any auspicious work is done, Lord Ganesha is worshipped because he is known as Vignaharta, right? He removes all obstacles in the path. In the Brahma Samhita, very beautifully is described that where does Ganesha even get this potency of removing obstacles? Because Ganesha is a great devotee of Lord Nrsimha, and it is said that on his forehead, if you notice carefully, next time you go to any Ganesh temple or you see any of Ganesha's paintings, you will notice a small tiny mark on his forehead. Right? It is said that on his tumuli there are these tiny footprints of Lord Nrsimha, and it is blessed by that potency of that obstacle removing potency of Lord Nrsimha, that Ganeshji, he as the beautiful devotee of Lord Nrsimha, he also carries that potency and removes obstacles in the lives of other devotees. So that way, the original, the OG of obstacle remover is Lord Nrsimha. And that's why Prabhupada instituted this Nrsimha worship. In fact, Nrsimha deity is also established in Mayapur because we wanted to protect the devotees there. There were a lot of difficulties they were going through due to certain issues the local people were raising there. So that way, even beyond just the devotional understanding, now Nrsimha worship is mentioned in the Agama Shastras. Agamas are these scriptures that talk about different forms of worship, right? Pancharatra, Narada Pancharatra, these are all part of the Agama Shastras. And the Agama Shastras also describe how there are certain mantras that are to be recited for different deities. And they also talk about how different deities have different potencies. The Agama Shastras also very beautifully explain that among the various forms of the Lord, the Nrsimha, this is the part of the Agama Shastras, is also the Tantra practice, the Sattvika Tantra practice, which is used because Tantra basically involves worship using different, the Tanmatras, different, like we use earth, we use water, we use fire, the different elements that are used in worship. That is also part of the Tantra Shastra. And the Tantra Shastra also involves, Agamas involves tantras and mantras and yantras. So among these different energetic mantras, it is said that in the Agama Shastras that the prayer of Lord Nrsimha, the Hrum, the specific Bija mantra of Nrsimha, is said to be the most potent mantra. In fact, in those who practice specifically the tantric traditions also, they also explain that how Hanuman is a very, very potent form. Sometimes they approach the direct energies in the form of Shaktis. But even the Tantra practices also, they explain how among the different energetic beings, Lord Nrsimha is the most ferocious and most potent in terms of the ability to ward off evil spirits, sometimes people who are struggling with, this kind of negative energies around in their life, the Nrsimha mantra is said to be the most potent one. So this concept is also something that is resonating in a more traditional, non-devotional Vedic traditions also, that how Lord Nrsimha, he is approached not just by devotees for protection, but in general, the Vedas, the Vedic culture itself, puts Nrsimhadev as a most energetic potency. So, having understood this about Nrsimhadev, it's very important also to see how we approach Lord Nrsimha. So, right, because to understand, to seek protection from the Lord, we also need to know his greatness. And in the devotional traditions, in the Bhakti traditions, the way we know the Lord's greatness is by knowing his different pastimes. And Lord Nrsimha, in fact, usually people, they like to hear stories and miracles. That's how in the beginning our conviction, our Shraddha may be centered around not Shastra but on some miracles, right? So just like how I mentioned earlier, Nrsimhadev is the answer not just to atheists, but also sometimes the devotees, the new devotees who are seeking miracles in their life. So there are unlimited number of deities of Lord Nrsimhadev, and each form, each deity of Nrsimha, there is an amazing history centered around it. So just few years back, I was fortunate to travel. So I grew up in this state in southern part of India called as Andhra, and there are many temples of Lord Nrsimha. So this we did this road trip trying to cover many Nrsimhadev temples. So some of the most popular temples, some of you might have heard, Ahobilam is a very, very famous temple of Lord Nrsimha, where there are these 9 forms of Lord Nrsimhadev. In fact, the exact palace of Hiranyakashipu, the pillar which Nrsimhadev broke open and came out, is in that place. In fact, that spot where that pillar once existed is on top of a very dangerous cliff. You have to be a little young and energetic to actually go all the way. And literally, when you go on top from 360 degrees, you literally see it's just anywhere you slip, you just go down the valley. It's not for the faint-hearted, but while your body and mind is still young, if you ever get an opportunity to go there, please go to that place. There are this beautiful, it's a very popular place these days. It's become easy to access that place also. It's called as Ahobilam. And there are these Nava Nrsimha, or 9 forms of Nrsimhadev that are there. That's a very, very famous temple. So while Ahobilam is a very famous temple in Andhra, there's another special place called as Vedagiri, which is close to the modern day city of Vijayawada. You could say it's about 3 hours drive from the capital Hyderabad. So it has a very, very special significance, because there it is said Nrsimhadev, he exists in these 5 very special forms, signifying the 5 elements: earth, water, fire, air, and ether. So that whole area, there is beautiful mountain range known as the Vedagiri or Vedachala. Giri means mountain. So it is said that, right in the beginning of the creation, when the Vedas got stolen and Brahmaji, he got bewildered, and Brahmaji, he prayed, to the Lord, saying that, my Lord, please kindly restore the Vedas back to me. So then the Lord, he destroyed the Madhu Kaitava demons who stole the Vedas. And then the Vedas, they're not just some books, they're not just some text, they're not just some knowledge, but they are the energy of creation. And every energy is signified by an energetic personality. So even the Vedas were these personified forms. So these Vedas personified, when they saw that they got protected from the demons and they were restored back to Brahmaji, the Vedas personified, they requested the Lord, my Lord, kindly reside on our head. So they transformed, it is said that they transformed these beautiful mountains, which is now known as Vedagiri, which is in near this Vijayawada city. And on those mountains, they requested the Lord to reside. What is so special about when I went there, I asked the priest, because the mountains are really special and there's a very special aura to those mountains and that place. You actually feel very calm, very peaceful there. So I asked, I didn't know about the story about anything. I just felt something nice and I asked the priest there, is there anything special about these mountains? So then he told me this entire story. And he said that sometimes in the night, there is a natural echo that comes from the mountain, which sounds like the Omkara. Because the Vedas personified, sound is the ether element, right? So it is said that the Lord personified himself as this ether element and manifested himself there as a special form of Nrsimha known as Yogananda Nrsimha, where is Nrsimhadev sitting in this yogic position, right? In this meditative yogic position, he manifested himself there as a Swayambhu or a self-manifested deity. And many centuries later, one great rishi, one great sage named Rishyashringa, when he walked there, he also suddenly felt very attracted to those mountains. But unlike me, he actually heard the sound of the Omkara. I didn't hear that. When he heard, in fact, it is said that he not only heard the sound of Omkara, he could hear the mantras of the Vedas emanating from these mountains. And he got so attracted, he settled there. And in the course of time, he actually walked into a special cave where he discovered this deity of Yogananda Nrsimha. And since then, he actually later on, he built a small temple. And even today, you will see over a period of time, different kings who were ruling that province, they made that temple a little better. So today you will actually see in that Vedagiri, there's this very special Yogananda Nrsimha deity. And little away from that place, like maybe just around 5 to 10 minutes away from that place, there's a small mountain range known as Garudachala. And on that, if you climb that mountain, and there is a huge cave, and that cave, you will just see, when you go today, you will just see a painting there. But actually, it is said that there is the Lord's deity made of air. So that is the air element. And it is said that, when Nrsimhadev when he was fighting with the demon, he took this very heroic mood. And that form of Lord Nrsimha is known as Veera Nrsimha. Veera means chivalry, heroism. And as soon as Garuda saw this beautiful heroic form of Lord Nrsimha, he requested, can you please manifest here as a deity? Right? And on top of that mountain of Garudachala, there is this beautiful deity of this form of Nrsimhadev. And because it's on top of a mountain, it's very inaccessible. And for many years, there was not much worship going on there. And because it's on top of a mountain, it's a tiny cave, it's a cave. So sometimes during the rainy season, the water would come into that cave and the whole cave would get flooded. In fact, even today, if you go there, there are bats hanging there, but they don't harm anyone. And for many days, the worship of Nrsimhadev doesn't happen there. So one ISKCON devotee many years ago, he actually documented all this in a film. And this film became very critical because somewhere in a remote part of the world, in Azerbaijan, in former USSR, there was this one very old lady. She was a 74-year-old lady. Her name is Padasevanam Mataji. When she saw this video and she got to know that Nrsimhadev is not getting right worship, that, on daily basis, sometimes once in a week, the pujari goes and offers worship there. So her heart pained. saying that how is Nrsimha not getting worship? I have to go there and offer him worship every day. Now, this lady, 74-year-old lady, in fact, in the how she her own devotional history is also very amazing. As a very old lady, I think during her 60s or something, she met devotees in Baku during some book distribution, and then she became very, very serious in Krishna consciousness. Later on, she herself started distributing books, and somehow she got a cloth doll of Krishna, and she used to call this deity, the doll, as Gopal, and used to worship Gopal as her personal deities. And she was very much devoted to them. And over a period of time, she even though she could not speak English, she could not, only Russian was the only language that she could speak, right? She became very, very sincere devotee. And when she saw this movie, she approached the local temple head and said that, hey, I want to go to India and take care of this Nrsimha. And the local temple person like thinking, oh my God, you are 74 years old. Do you even know how India is? Even youngsters that time, they struggle to cope up with the weather and the food in India. I can't send you there. But somehow she was very, very particular. Then, he finds a reference of some devotee in Vrindavan, and, so long story short, she somehow ends up in India with the help of this devotee. And this devotee, knowing that, she is very, very elderly, and he actually goes and checks that place, blah, 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 knowing that it's a very austere place. He tells that, actually in our Gaudiya Vaishnava tradition, we worship Radha and Krishna. So you don't have to go there and just devote yourself just for worshipping Nrsimha. So then, anyway, you have your deity of Gopal. So, you worship your that deity doll of Gopal. So then she says, okay, I will ask Gopal and let you know. Next day, she comes back saying that Gopal told me that immediately I have to go to Nrsimha and start worshipping him. And now seeing her conviction, and she just was, you could not stop her. Nothing could convince her, deter her. So then somehow he takes her to this place, and again, I'm cutting out many details. And finally, she reaches this place in this Vedagiri, and the local priest looks at her and says, because he himself was also 70-year-old and he had a 30-year-old son who would assist him in the deity worship there. He looks at her and says, you are so old, you cannot survive the austerities. And back then there was no electricity, there was no running water, it was like the middle of the forest. Sometimes tigers would come there, wild monkeys would come there. I cannot take responsibility for your protection. And this 74-year-old lady, who could not speak English, using whatever broken language through this devotee translator, and the devotee translator translating to the 30-year-old son, and the 30-year-old son translating in the local language Telugu to the old priest, so many via communication, she told the priest that, look, if Krishna wants to protect me, no matter where I am, he will protect me. And if Krishna wants me to die, then even if I'm at home, I will die. And the conviction with which she made that statement, that priest, his heart melted. He started crying. He said, oh my God, if I stop a devotee like you from approaching the Lord, it will become a great offense. So seeing her conviction, he says, okay, fine, you can start the worship. And this 74-year-old lady, without any understanding of the local language or English or, nothing, all she came with her some books and she already came prepared with some paraphernalia to worship Lord Nrsimha. That was the only luggage that she had. She came, started walking up into the forest, deep into the forest, and then finally found the temple entrance, climbed up the steps. That time they didn't have proper steps also. So somehow she managed to climb up, started the worship. Slowly, the news spread in the local village that some saintly lady has come and she is now worshipping Lord Nrsimha. So to assist her, seeing her old age, the local villagers started assisting. Some people said, okay, I will get water for you for the worship. Oh, I will cook some food and bhoga for the Lord for the offering. So slowly the villagers started reviving the worship. And seeing the kind of buzz that was created in the villages, it attracted the attention of the press. And in the local press, wrote an article. And somehow that article reached the governor of that state. And the governor was thinking, oh my God, I didn't know we are, because he was also a great devotee of Krishna. I claim myself to be a devotee of Krishna, but I didn't know such devotion and such dedication exists in Kali Yuga. I have to meet this lady. He comes, and the governor, when the governor comes, naturally roads automatically come. He issued a instruction that the electricity, roads, the proper steps on top of this temple, everything has to be made. And see, when I read this story, I found it so inspirational, because see how it's just all you need is conviction. When you are convinced, Krishna arranges for the seva to take place. And literally that lady, it's not that she was breaking the rocks and building the temple, or she was lifting the pots of water up every day, right? All she had was her conviction. And with seeing that, it attracted such goodwill from the citizens and eventually the governor, that today there's a very nice road. So by the time I went there, eventually there's one day, many years later, this lady, because she was very particular about her seva, but one day local person went to meet her. He just found her in her little hut. On a chair, there was this her deity of Krishna, hugging the feet of Krishna with her head on Krishna's feet. She was just lying there. So this person went and called out to her, but there was no response, only to find that she left this world. So literally her name, Pada Sevanam, means worshipping the lotus feet of the Lord. So literally she lived to her name, the meaning of her name, and left her body hugging the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. And the local people are so inspired by her, they call her as a saint from Azerbaijan, and they created a memorial for her. So even today, if you go there in the local language, in Telugu language, they have this beautiful memorial there. In fact, if you Google for this, Vedagiri and Veera Nrsimha and Azerbaijan, if you just put these three words on Google, you'll actually see all the photographs I can read some articles on that. So this is how Lord Nrsimha very powerfully reciprocates with his devotees. And this is something that happened just 15 years ago, 10 years ago. We are not talking about Prahlad Maharaj in Satya Yuga. We are not talking about some pastimes of Rishashinga in Treta Yuga. We are talking about something that just happened 10 years ago, right? Likewise, in the same place, remember we were discussing these 5 forms of Lord Nrsimha. So as ether, as the Vedas personified as Yoga Nrsimha, then as the air, he is there as Veera Nrsimha. Then when you visit the Vedagiri mountain, if you climb little bit higher, there's a beautiful temple of Jwala Nrsimha, where it is said that he appeared there specifically to appease certain rishis who had come there to offer prayers to Lord Nrsimhadev. Then right next to this temple, there's a beautiful river. The name of this river is called as Krishna River. Very famous river in Andhra. There's Godavari, one very famous river, and there's Krishna. In that Krishna River, when you go there, you will see at one point, there's a little area that is cordoned off, and you're not allowed to go swim in that river. Because literally under that water, there is a form of Nrsimhadev in the form of a shaligram. He is submerged under water. So that is the water form of Nrsimha. And it is said that only during certain time of the year, when the river flow recedes, that shaligram, he comes up. That's when they offer him worship. Otherwise, most of the time, he's always covered and he's underwater. And then, as the form representing earth, carved out of stone, he also manifested there as Lakshmi Nrsimha. So that Lakshmi Nrsimha temple is the most popular temple there. It is said that for human beings, Lakshmi Nrsimha is the form that they need to worship. For the devatas, for the higher terrestrials, there as Yoga Nrsimha, he blesses them like that. So when you go there, you'll see Lakshmi Nrsimha temple, and right next to that, there's a river. In the water, there is the Shaligram Nrsimha. If you climb up, you will see the Jwala Nrsimha. Then if you walk little away, you will see Garuda Chala and Veera Nrsimha. And on the Vedagiri, on the mountains, you will see Yoga and the Nrsimha. All these earth, water, fire, air, ether forms of the Lord, they are present there. And then if you go little further from this place, there's another very famous temple town in the state called as Bhadrachalam, which is famous for a very ancient temple of Lord Ram. That itself is another great history about how the temple manifested there. But close to that place, there's a big forest. That whole area is a big forest region. And in that forest, there's a very special, unique form of Nrsimha known as Hemachala Nrsimha. In fact, Hema means, or Hima. Hima means ice. And it's the word over a period of time became Hemachala. Hema actually means golden, but the exact original Puranic name was Hima Achala Nrsimha. Hima means ice, because when you go there, that whole region is in the middle of the forest and on top of a mountain, and it's naturally little cool there. And when you have to when you reach there, it's lush green. Like the whole drive to that place, you'll see it's quite barren, like a typical normal dry forest. And suddenly when you reach that spot, suddenly the place turns lush green. And it's like it has its own little microclimate. It feels very cool. So when you come out, you will see huge steps. Today, now they built beautiful staircase, but you have to walk quite a lot of steps. And we go on top, there is a special deity of Nrsimhadev who is literally part of the mountain. So over a period of time, they built a whole, like a altar and a sanctum sanctorum, a temple around it. But originally, that deity was part of that mountain, and this is also a self-manifested form of Lord Nrsimha. Nobody carved this deity. He's just been around for I don't know how long. It's a 10-foot long, huge deity of Nrsimhadev with 4 hands. The speciality of this Nrsimhadev, of this Himachala Nrsimhadev, when you touch the deity, it feels soft like human skin. In fact, when you press your skin, you feel the impression, the indentation. Literally, you can feel the indentation. Not just that, there is hair on the body of that deity, like a human being. And from his navel, so today the priests, they cover the navel with a mixture made of sandalwood paste and saffron and turmeric, right? But when you go there, when you request the priest, he will secretly take you aside and he will open the altar, and the navel, when they remove that patch of sandalwood paste and turmeric paste, there's constant water dripping from his navel. And apparently that water has some very special healing potencies. And sometimes during specific times of the year, there are special puja, special worship that is done, and people come there to collect that water as like direct prasad of this form. But very, very special form with, like human skin. And when you go there and you see that, you literally, your hair stands on end when you see, oh my God, we think deities means some stone and some statues, but they're not statues. This is literally like a human being there, right? That is this very beautiful deity of Himachala Nrsimha. Likewise, if you go further in that same direction, there is this beautiful place known as Mangalagiri. This is a famous form of Nrsimha. In fact, there's a whole story centered around it. It is said that once there was this great demon named Namuchi. This demon had a benediction that he cannot be killed by any weapon which is either wet or dry. Now, technically, there are only two states. Something can be either wet or something can be dry. So he got this benediction and he created a lot of havoc. And finally, the Devatas, they pray to Lord Vishnu, and then Lord Vishnu, he gives, there are different versions of the story also. We'll go with one of the popular versions. Lord Vishnu, he gives his Sudarshan Chakra to Indra and gives Indra to destroy this demon Namuchi. But then that Sudarshan Chakra, it is not just ordinary Sudarshan Chakra. It's a chakra made out of foam. Right? Now, foam, like when you wash your hand with detergent, with some soap, you get foam. Now, what is foam? Is it wet or dry? It's neither wet nor dry. So with this foam weapon, the Sudarshan Chakra is released. And it is said that in the center of that Sudarshan Chakra, the Lord manifested as his very ferocious form of Nrsimha, who is known as Sudarshana Nrsimha. And when this Sudarshan Nrsimha and the foam went and destroyed this Namuchi, so then the Lord, because he manifested for a particular cause and he needed to be angry at that moment, he was so furious. He said, bring something to cool me down. And he tells, bring me nectar from the heaven, because you guys invoked me. Now I did your work. Now you have to pacify my anger, my heat, and then bring me nectar. So the Devatas, they brought the heavenly Amrit, heavenly nectar, and then they offered it to Nrsimhadev, and he was continuously drinking and drinking and drinking. And it is said that form of Nrsimha, he embodied himself as a deity there, and the deity still exists today. And if you look at the deity is literally part of the mountain with his mouth open like this, slightly looking up and his mouth open. And it is said that in the first yuga, in the Satya Yuga, Lord, in his mouth, they used to pacify him by putting nectar, Amrita. Then later, in the Treta Yuga, they started putting ghee. Then in Dwapar Yuga, they would put milk. And in Kali Yuga, difficult to get Amrit. Ghee is pure ghee, practically impossible to get. Milk, we don't have so much milk, right? So the Lord settled for jaggery water. It is technically called as panakam. It's a very special preparation made with date palm jaggery and with water, and they put some like cardamom and little pepper, and so they make this panakam. And it is said that that panakam is constantly put in the mouth of the Nrsimha. And literally, when I say mouth of Nrsimha, the deity is swallowing all this. They are not taking one tiny spoon and putting it. There's a big conch shell, and they bring buckets and buckets of that panakam and they put it into the deity. And for generations, this tradition has been going on. Nobody knows where that panakam is going. Some historians, some scientists like to claim that, this is some former volcanic mountain and they like to, pacify the heat by putting it. So somewhere it is going into the core of that mountain. But the local priests, if you ask them, they say the Lord is swallowing all this because you don't see any tunnel, any track anywhere, right? It just goes in. And another very interesting thing there is, when you take that big, huge conch shell and when you pour the panakam into the mouth of Nrsimhadev, he drinks half and the other half exactly when like, for example, when you fill a cup with water, as soon as you reach the full mark, right, some bubbles start to come out, right? So then they transfer that other half into an empty bucket as Mahaprasad for the devotees. Again, they take one more conch shell, again pour it. So there, just like how different deities like different forms of bhoga, here in this Mangalagiri Panakala Nrsimha, today he is known as Nrsimhadev who drinks Panakam. So Panakala Nrsimha is his name. So there the beautiful Panakam is offered every day. And the most extraordinary thing is, nowhere in the temple compound you will see ants. I mean, little bit of Indian context here. If you put any sweet, any sugar, any jaggery on the floor anywhere in India, there will be 10 million ants who will come and chase it. They are, break it down and start taking it. But there, not a single ant, right? And that panakam also, they offer it later as the prasad. So you can actually drink this very, very special. It actually cools down your body also. Very special form of prasad there, like that. So that is in so all these places, we had traveled that time. Then likewise, so Narsingadev, this is one thing you will notice. He always chooses very, very exotic locations to have his temples. Many of his temples, they are his self-manifested deities. He manifests in the middle of some deep forest somewhere, because by nature he's a lion. Lions like to live deep in the forest or in caves, on top of a mountain in some remote cave. There's this one very nice temple I had been to many years ago. This is in another state, Karnataka. There's a place called as Bidar. There's a whole 300-meter tunnel. You have to go through the tunnel. And when you enter into the tunnel, first you have to climb this mountain and deep into the tunnel. There, you have to literally crawl through water, which is almost 4 to 5 feet high. And as you crawl through that water, there, you will see there is a form of Nrsimha known as Jharani Nrsimha. Jharani means like a spring of water. So there was one, even that place also has an interesting history. There was a demon named Jalasura. And apparently that demon created a lot of havoc. And Nrsimhadev, so Nrsimhadev didn't kill just Hiranyakashipu. He killed Namuchi, he killed Jalasura, he killed so many such demons. And while chasing that demon, he entered into this cave. And the demon, just before he was about to die, he requested, Lord, you have come to my house. Please kindly now stay here and make my house auspicious. So Nrsimhadev, he transformed into a deity of this Jharani Nrsimha, and he resided there. So even that water, apparently, some people claim that it has some minute traces of sulfur in it, and it has some healing properties. So when you walk through that water, it does good to your skin and your body, like that. So like that. So we can go on and on about different forms of Nrsimha, but the main purpose, like I said, is in our journey of bhakti, we have so many inner demons to confront. And until we purify our heart of all these self-centric, egoistic tendencies, until we do not remove these anarthas, these demoniac anarthas from our heart, the pure love of Vrindavan, the access to Radha and Krishna cannot be gained. Therefore, we should worship Lord Nrsimha with the intention that, my Lord, kindly destroy these anarthas within my heart and take me more and more closer to Shri Radha and Krishna. So that is the mood, that is a special form. And that's why on this day, this weekend when Nrsimha Chaturdashi is coming, on this day of appearance of Lord Nrsimha, on this day, it's good to read these pastimes of Lord Nrsimha, how you can feel the mood, his mood of protection towards Prahlad. And you can also read in Bhagavad Puran, in the 7th canto, beautiful prayers that Prahlad Maharaj offered to Nrsimha. So entering into that mood of how to pray to the Lord for protection, right? Because in this journey of bhakti, this is a very important point, that the only thing that the jiva has, the living entity has in its possession, is its desire. The jiva has no ability to, even for its own journey of self-realization, it has no ability. It has to rely on the Lord. The only thing that the jiva has is its desire, and the only effort that the jiva needs to make is to maintain the purity of this desire. But even that, we need Lord's protection, right? And that's where Lord Nrsimhadev comes. He ensures that all these vices all the impurities are removed from our heart. And by maintaining this purity of our intention, the Lord will empower us in our bhakti journey and eventually remove all the avidya, the misgivings, the ignorance around the consciousness, and reveal to us the spiritual world and provide us access to his service. So therefore, in this journey, Nrsimha plays a very, very important role. So these are just few meditations on Nrsimha and his, and his beautiful temples and his very, very special forms, which I wanted to share. I was also noticing there were a lot of messages during the chat. Let me just quickly address them. Right. So I think somebody asked, so when the moment Lord Nrsimha breaks open the pillar and he comes out, right, that form is known as Ugra Nrsimha. And when he is destroying Hiranyakashipu, that form is usually known as Jwala Nrsimha. And you'll notice even in many, in the Nrsimha iconography, he's surrounded by fire. That also is Jwala means fire. So the fiery form of Nrsimha is when he's killing Hiranyakashipu. The name of the temple that I spoke about is known, it's a place called Vedagiri. And that story about Padasevanam Mataji that I told you, the temple name is Veera Nrsimha. Veera. V-E-E-R-A. Veera means chivalry. Like that. All right. If anybody wants to add something, any quick questions or comments you want to add, you can do that now. What is the name of the movie that Mataji watched? So apparently in the article that I read, it said the temple of Ahobilam. Though Ahobilam is a much different place, there's a devotee named Dhruva Prabhu who actually made that movie. So though maybe my guess is, I have not seen that movie, but my guess is that as part of the different Nrsimha temples, he would have covered Ahobilam, which is one of the famous temples, and he would have also covered this part in his documentary. So this is my guess on that matter. Right? Okay. Which is the prayer that we can recite as a morning practice, right? So yeah, so there is this Srila Prabhupada, he instituted in ISKCON this very, very special prayer of Nrsimha, which is part of the Gita Govinda. So Jayadev Goswami, in the Gita Govinda, he has written a particular stotra called as the Dasha Avatara Stotra. Means the 10 forms of Lord Krishna, right? Jayadev Goswami, he glorifying Lord Krishna, he glorifies 10 special forms of Krishna. In that, there's a prayer offered to Nrsimha. So that particular prayer is what is there. So I can send it to you personally. And also there is a very special prayer which is mentioned in the Vedic literature. Ugram Viram Mahavishnum Jalantam Sarvato Mukham Narsingam Bhishnam Bhattam Mutyam Mutyar Namamiham. This is the prayer. So this prayer also is very popularly recited as the prayer for. I will send both these prayers in our group, in our alumni group, so that you can actually recite these prayers. These prayers can be as a protection, as a personal protection. In fact, you can just chant the name of Nrsimha whenever you are starting any auspicious activity, whenever you are venturing out of the house. So that time you can offer these prayers and you can leave home. All right. Okay. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Sorry, before you finish, can you also post the name of the temple, the one which is in Himachal, you said?
Oh, yes.
I'm
yes.
searching, but I'm not able to find.
Post a small, there's a small YouTube video of that. I will also post that video where you can actually see the form of the Lord and the water dripping from his navel. You can actually see all that. I'll post them in our GSY Sangha group.
Amazing. That would be great. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.